That was Watercolor by pianist, singer, and composer Charlotte Reinhardt. Now, if her name sounds familiar, it's because she's the great niece of another famous Reinhardt, the late gypsy jazz legend Django Reinhardt. Immersed in music from a tender age, Charlotte Reinhardt started playing classical piano before exploring other horizons like jazz and more experimental music. Last May, she released a beautiful contemplative album called Colors, and she's just released a deluxe version of the record featuring previously unreleased tracks, and she joins me in the studio to tell me more about it. Welcome to France 24, Charlotte.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Now, before we dive into your musical landscape, now for our viewers who don't know you, you are the great niece of the jazz legend Django Reinhardt, but you only found out this connection by accident a little bit later in life.
Yes, I mean, it's so long story, so... Do we have 3 hours?
Yeah, no. Another time.
The short version is, yes, I'm part of the family. And yes, it was a crazy, it's a really crazy story. It's a movie story almost, but it's my grandmother. Yes, she's a cousin of him. And we are all musicians in the family, but we discovered the link very late.
So how old were you when you found out, for instance?
10 years ago.
10 years ago,
yes,
okay.
Almost.
Interesting. And so, and this reconnection, though, with your roots, did it transform you musically?
No. No. I felt that inside there's something very wild in me about freedom and the way I compose, very, very free. I don't know if it's a gypsy influence, I mean. But my music was very classical. I grew up with my mom. She's a pianist and a teacher, classical pianist, teacher. And my stepfather is a guitarist, a jazz player. So nothing with the gypsy music. But I like it a lot, but like a lot of people. But when I found my grandmother, I felt something very deep inside of me, but it was very intimate and personal thing. And
so it was more like a feeling inside you.
Yes, a
feeling. You reconnected with.
Yes, like a piece that.
A puzzle piece.
Yes, yes. But it's an amazing story, but so long. Like, if I tell the short story, it will. Oh yes, that's all.
Yeah. And so you just released this deluxe version of your album, which flirts with both classical and jazz in many ways. And you wrote this very intimate album during the lockdown. Now, the lockdown was a crazy period for so many people, and you managed to find some sort of creative freedom. How did you find this creative freedom?
Yes, because I was doing so much things. I was singing. I had a band before. I was singing, and then I was working at the Opera of Paris too. I was composing for movies, documentaries, and when there was the lockdown, everything stopped. And well, I always composed. Since I'm 13 years, I composed. It's a necessity. And so, yes, it was natural. I was at my piano, and I was composing and recording too. And so my beloved said to me, I hear you. When you make your music, I hear you. And before, I couldn't imagine that my music could interest anybody, because it was like no format, no duration. It was like free and classical and jazz, because I grew up with that influences. And I couldn't believe that people could be interested. And when my love said, I hear you, it's you. You have to release
it. So you reconnected with yourself in many ways.
And I stopped everything after the lockdown. Concentrate on my music, only my music.
Well, let's listen to another extract off your album. It's called Désordre. Take a listen. So that was the song Désordre off Charlotte Reinhardt's album Colors. You have such beautiful music videos that go along with your tracks. I definitely recommend checking them out on your YouTube channel. You mentioned that you did music for films. There's a very visual aspect. For instance, that song Désordre. Many of them are like abstract paintings. They're very mesmerizing. Do you see these images when you're composing your music?
Yes. And for Désordre, it was how do I say? I mean, it's a classical piano, like hypnotic piano. I was playing it, and I met some dancers and said, "Oh, I have to break the classical hypnotic cycle with the dance." And the drummer came to make this disorder.
Yeah.
And yes, I have almost on my head the images I want, but it's kind of metaphor with the red and the yellow. It's two colors. You make a third color. It's the orange, and I love that idea of colors.
Well, and your album title is Colors,
yes.
which is interesting because we think about colors like orange, red, and everything. But in your album, you say that a color is a sensation. What do you mean by that?
Yes, for me it's vibration. I like the world. it's simple, but colors means a lot of things to me. It's all my influences. I have also, yes, my mom is half Spanish. I was a gypsy grandmother. My father is English, and yes, I grew up with classical jazz, and I think that's, yes, vibration.
So you're a palette of different influences and colors. We're going to move on to some other music news that's making headlines with the Franco-American jazz vocalist Cécile McLorin Salvant. She's released a new album. It's called Mélusine, and it features a mix of 5 original songs as well as interpretations of 9 songs dating as far back as the 12th century. Now, on the album, she sings mostly in French, but also in Occitan, in English, and in Haitian Creole. Here's the title track, Mélusine. Check it out.
I always know where to find you. When I close my eyes, I find you. How does the thorny devil drink the dew from the sand where it never...
So that was the track Mélusine by Cécile McLorin Salvant. Now, that album actually tells the story from European folklore of a woman, Mélusine, who turned into a half-snake every Saturday after the result of a childhood curse. So very animal influence there. And speaking about animals, check out this transition. Charlotte, you have a cat, Carlotine, who's a regular feature in your videos. And actually, you dedicated your album, Colors, in part to her. She seems to enter a trance, so we can see her here in these images. Would you say that she's your muse?
Yes.
And so she just comes when you're playing the piano. She comes to you.
She born almost on my knees when I was on the piano. It's crazy, and I think that she feels the vibration of music. Really, it's something very weird. The relation with the animal. It's there's something. A mystery. It's a mystery, yes. But I think she feels something.
So you mentioned that during the lockdown, your beloved was not there, but your cat was. So
yes,
you did
yes.
Some companionship.
She approved every pieces.
It's good to have someone checking what's going on. Now we're going to move on to one more release. This is staying with jazz releases. Actually, this is the Danish vocalist. That's a hard one to say. Danish vocalist Nana Rashid. She's releasing her debut album. It's called Music for Betty. The record presents 8 gems, which showcase her commanding knack for storytelling. Backed by the critically acclaimed trio Little North, the arrangements are naked and raw and really shine the spotlight on Nana Rashid's captivating, emotive, and timeless voice that's reminiscent of the great Nina Simone. As you can hear on this track, they call it love.
Implications growing stronger than don't tell me this is love. How many women shall this dream come to pass? And so much religion, and yet so little love. 'Cause how many women...
So that was They Call It Love by Danish vocalist Nana Rashid. She says that the heart and soul of everything she does is rooted in the belief that music can remind us of what we have in common, which is our humanity. You, as you mentioned, you're a mix of many things. You've been in several different cultures in several different countries. Would you agree that music is what brings everyone together?
Yes. It's yes, of course. The music travels, and it's a language. Yes.
An international language.
Yes, for me it's my way of express things.
And so it's between cultures and time, with different influences across time. So we're going to talk to you about one more music release. This is from the rock American band The National. They're dropping a new album. It's called First Two Pages of Frankenstein, their first album since 2019's I'm Easy to Find. According to the band, it was born from a very dark spot when they hit a blank page in terms of lyric and melody, and they managed to come back together and approach everything from a different angle. They say, this feels like a new era, and we're going to leave you with a track off the band. It's called Your Mind Is Not Your Friend, featuring Phoebe Bridgers. But before we go, I want to thank my guest today, Charlotte Reinhardt.
Thank you very much. Thank you
for being with us today. Be sure to check out her album. It's called Colors, and there's a deluxe version with previously unreleased tracks. For our arts and culture news, head to our website and stay in touch on social media. And stay tuned to France 24. More news is coming up right after this.
Don't you understand?